Okay guys, John the Van Guy. Temperature gauge fitted on the Molly, the Morris Minor. Just as a follow-on from a previous video I did, this is kind of fitted now, and I'll show you how it works and how it looks when it's fitted. So here we are. Let's get into the old Moggy. Hi Molly. Right, here we are. Let's find the keys, and there's the temperature gauge. Fitted. Now, the temperature gauge, it's actually there. It's actually the replica from India, so £14.45 instead of getting the real McCoy from ESM, which will cost you about £70. That's the kit. That involves the dial and the sender and bits of contacts, I think. Right, now I did mention on the last video that if you're going to do a dial, put a dial in, you're going to need to find the voltage stabilizer, which gives out about 10 volts, which is what these little dials like. They don't like the full 12 volts. You can do it at 12 volts, but you end up with probably an overreading. The voltage stabilizer, all it does, gives you an average voltage. And it's not a regulator, it's just a stabilizer. So I've put it in there on its side. It says top on it, but I've ignored that. It's a bimetallic strip with an heating element underneath. That's all. And I don't think it makes an awful lot of difference how you position it. The top, I think does refer just to where it was when it was fitted with the harness. Or when it was fitted to accommodate the harness. Right, okay, so that's where it's fitted. What I've done, I've found a lead, which was an earth lead, which I actually used on, this is a push fitting when I fitted a water washer. So that's the lead, so I've connected that to that, used that lead, connected to the voltage stabilizer. So connected through, there's a B on the voltage stabilizer. It's like a double connection. So you can use one of those connections. Now one of those connections I've used, the 12 volt, I've actually sent it directly to the dial, to the light in the dial. So the actual light, the dial now lights up. I can show you, in fact, if I turn the ignition on. So the 12 volt is just doing the light to the dial. So that's coming from the B part of the stabilizer. And you see, doesn't that look pretty? There you go. So, now, let's see this old replica works, this Indian replica. And I must say, it's a nice looking bit of kit. Again, that's the £14.45 includes the pickup as well, the temperature sensor, which actually goes into the engine. And the temperature sensor in that case is they send you an M10 thread. Now the thread on the engine is a 5/8 UNF, so take that into account. If you've got one of the later engines, which is the 1098, the earlier engines don't have a position for it, so you'll have to think of another way of doing it. Some people use the one of the heater pipes, and put like a T-piece in there and heater. You can get them. You can find different ways. And some of the American sites, they put in the old Chevys. they fit them anywhere, actually, anywhere they can find a space on the cooling pipes. Right. Okay. So let's go into the engine first, and I'll show you what I've done to connect the sensor. So if I pull, let's open Molly's bonnet and go through here. And here we are. Now let's see if I can get you open and hold the phone at the same time. That's very easy. That's it. That's it. Oh, there we are. Done. Okay, right. Now here we are. I've come through the bulkhead here, the blue wire, that is the blue wire coming from the back of the gauge, okay, and that feeds through here. So on the gauge you've got a terminal for the light, you've got a terminal for the battery lead, which comes from the voltage stabilizer, and you've got a terminal going to the sensor. Now the sensor has gone in here. Now this is the that's the bolt which is normally in there. Again, 5/8 UNF actually goes in there. What you'll find if you try and put a sensor in, there's not enough room. It's not, the channel inside is not deep enough, so you'll have to, at least what I've done, is you look at brass fittings which will accommodate, which will give you a bit more room and accommodate the sensor and give you that length that you'll need to actually contact it to the block. So in that kit, the Indian kit, it was an M10. So, but I did also have already. I had a 5/8 UNF, which I'd actually ordered from ESM, UNF sensor, which actually again was too long. So what I've done, I've ordered a coupling, brass coupling, and you get them online. You can see them on, if you look on eBay. Various firms do them, brass fittings. Now what you want is a male 5/8 UNF with inside it with a female 5/8 UNF. If you want to go the way I'm going, using the 5/8 to accommodate the 5/8 sensor, and that's what I've got down here. So PTFE tape and a copper washer seems to have held in place there, and inside that I've put the actual sensor itself, so it's gone into the female thread. So the male thread of the coupler, the brass coupling, as sits quite snugly. So now I've got this length to accommodate the sensor. Again, I can probably make that look a bit prettier. Now here, if you notice on this, I didn't fit this, but this is for the fan, and you can adjust it as to when it comes on or not, at what temperature the fan actually comes on. Again, so this wire is connected up through here. I haven't disconnected this, but this actually transmits somehow to from here to the fan and turn the fan on. Now I didn't connect that, so I'm not talking about that, but in fact it's quite useful because you get to know when that's going to come on in relation to the gauge itself. Now let's have and see if it works, shall we? Okay, now let's see. I've put the key in already, and let's see, let's start her up. How exciting! So there we go, make sure it's in neutral, turn her on. Right, now she's on. Now we wait a bit, and you can see from the dial, remember I mentioned in a previous video, because it's a silver face dial and the new sender on the petrol tank, it's reading back to front. So that's about 3/4 full, where it looks like it's closing on empty, but you have to know that. Okay, now is anything happening? Nothing as yet. Now if you're patient, it'll take a little bit of while to warm up, so I'm not going to tell you while I'm waiting. Oh yeah, all right, another thing while I'm waiting for this to warm up, let's have a look in the glove box. Now you can see I've fitted a new glove box. Now there's a chap making these and selling them on eBay, and that came to about £31, which is kind of a lot cheaper from the ESM one. and you found with a bit of manoeuvring, I think it fits most spaces. You can actually fit the thing in. I've actually found that I could, to allow for this closure and to allow for the heads of the screws, I managed to get 2 screws in just to hold it in place. So there it goes. And I did wonder about making them myself, actually, to see if it's worth doing. And I think the material, if you're wondering, is what's it called? PVC foam. Yeah, like a polyvinyl foam material, which you can actually buy in sheets. Is it moving now? Yeah, it's moving. Yeah, you can see it. You can actually witness it in real time. Rubbing in a bit to speed it up. I mean, this is not, to be honest, this is not first trial. I know this works. But what's interesting is, once it gets to, it's moving along nicely now, so it's working beautifully. Once it gets to the end, it gets to sort of the last sort of upright of the end, and the way that dial is adjusted, the fan will then come on, and it seems to all link and work. And so it will start the fan once it gets up there, but you can actually see it moving, and it seems to hold just on the end, or just past the end. It seems to hold there. This is what I found last time. So I'm very happy. It seems to be working, and yeah, it's goodbye. Well done, India. Well, I'll say bye for now, and we'll see how this goes. Yeah, well, I can tell you it works. So there you go. Bye then.